All right, my friends, it's been a while, but we're back. Bike Showcase Throwback Thursday with the Trek Bruiser. Let's get on topic. Hey everybody, it's Thomas with Get Out Arizona, and you're watching another great episode of Bike Showcase Throwback Thursday edition. Now you guys are seeing this New Year's Day, so happy New Year's to you and yours, all right? It's gonna be an amazingly awesome, fantastically wonderful 2026. I can feel it, right? Way down in the cockles, I can feel it. So, and of course, once again, I'm joined by my co-host, Brandon Van Leuven. Brandon, how the hell are you?
Good morning.
Yeah.
Happy New Year to you.
It's actually New Year's Eve, but when you see this, it's New Year's Day. So, but yes. Any plans? Gonna just chill tonight?
Just chilling.
Yeah. No,
Going to bed early. My favorite thing in the whole world to do.
When you're old, it happens, guys. So just be prepared. Plus, with all the mooks out there, I mean, who wants to go out and just deal with that crap? So, once again, we're at the Trek Bicycle Store of West Phoenix in Goodyear, Arizona, because where the cool kids hang out, huh? And this fluffy kid. But 2026 is my year, guys. You watch. It's coming. So, and we do the bike showcases. You guys know that. We love the support you give us on those. And we started doing that Throwback Thursday where we had some customer bikes on here. Brandon had some ones out of the
If we can find some weird
Trek
stuff,
Museum.
we'll do it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this one is the Trek Bruiser. It's been in the shop for what, 3 months now?
About that.
Something. I came in and there it was. I'm like, oh my gosh. It's been a while. We've been trying to do this one. Just things got busy. We started the Fireside Chats, which has been really popular. So we're excited about that. So Brandon, this looks like a mashup of a BMX frame with mountain biking roots because we have disc brake, but we still have points
Some
for
weird stuff. This is
cable. We got a BMX handlebar.
There's some weird stuff on this bike for sure. This is a time when things were kind of technology was kind of moving along, but still people were still stuck back with it's
right. No
we'll see on the
posts,
close-ups for sure. No, absolutely not.
As far as that stuff goes.
If I can give you a little background on this.
Yeah, let's do the background first before we do the walkthrough.
In college, I worked at a place called the Ski and Bike Shop in Grand Forks, North Dakota.
Okay.
And this was the very first bike I ever EP'd. Employee purchase.
Okay.
So
I was thinking like eat shit. Wait, that's ES. EP'd. Okay, that makes sense.
So first bike I ever employee purchased. This was a fun one. This was back in the days when Trek kind of made. They kind of went off track, sort of, to say. They still made a trike. They still made tandems. They still made folding bikes. They made a lot of weird bikes, and this is one of them. Okay. A lot of people never knew that this bike ever existed.
I never knew it existed.
We went through a little phase at the Ski and Bike Shop where a few of us, Brian, my now business partner, he had a Brody Bruzza Hucker. We called them Huckers at the time. Another good friend of mine, Dave Sears, back in the day, and Will, that we all kind of went out. We probably should have been partying and trying to meet girls, but we were out there on these bikes trying to hone our skills a little bit.
There you go.
I think it was designed more like a dirt jumper, urban assault bike. Hucker was what we called them at the time.
So was this like maybe designed to be like the trials bikes? Like I see Muscatskill or something. His name's on YouTube.
Sort of at the time.
I'll link him down below. That guy's got like amazing balance, dude. His videos are phenomenal.
I get the sweaty palms watching that guy.
Right. But this almost seems kind of like the trials.
It's kind of like
a trials bike.
And that's kind of what we did with them. They were more like a dirt jumper. But I think we had more fun doing some drop-offs. I think the best I ever did was like maybe a loading dock drop-off. That was about the best I could do.
Okay.
I suck at jumping. We had fun, you know. Like I said,
I suck at jumping too.
Instead of getting in trouble and going out during college, we rode our bikes like a bunch of nerds.
And that's why he's a business owner today instead of, flipping burgers at McDonald's, guys. Remember that. Stay in school and pay attention.
But it was a fun bike. When I left college, I left this to my friend Griffing, who had this bike in Chicago all this time, ever since I left in 2001.
Okay.
He's had this bike ever since, and he wasn't using it. It's been in his basement in the Chicago area, and here we are.
25 years later.
He kept it in fantastic shape. It looks beautiful. It's fun to have in the shop, and it gains some interest sitting on the wall. People are like, what is that?
It's a conversation piece.
It is a conversation piece, so I'm happy to have it. I'm glad he took good care of it, and yeah. let's show the details.
All right, guys, movie and magic. I'm going to grab the camera. We're going to walk around and have Brandon go over some stuff. And I'm going to force Brandon to give the first transition of
the year.
2026. So, all right, Brandon, first one of 2026. Make it a good one.
1, 2, 3. All right, are we on?
We're on. We're ready. Let's
front
do
to
it.
back. So a very kind of a transitional time in just cycling in general. What you'll see, what's kind of funny is this bike is capable to have both rim brakes and disc brakes. At the time, disc brakes weren't super popular or common. They were just kind of coming about. And so if you look in the front here, we'll start with the suspension fork. This is a pretty big fork for the time. It's a little over 100 millimeters, like 120. This is the time when most forks were like 83 millimeters, under 100 millimeters. So at the time, this Marzocchi Bomber was a big boy. Sprung loaded on this guy.
Spring loaded?
Spring loaded. And you can see also that, again, there's posts for a rim brake if you wish.
Right.
But on this one, this was my very first disc brake bike. This has the Avid mechanical disc brakes. And though it doesn't say it, I want to say that they're BB7s, which are a fantastic disc brake. Even to this day, I would still put BB7s on any one of my bikes.
Right.
It's got a lot of adjustability. It feels great at the lever. It's still a very relevant brake, I feel, for today. So they did a nice job with that.
Okay.
Something that lasts the years. These tires are not stock. The tires that came on this bike originally were Kenda, some kind of Kenda. Okay. Maybe Navigal or Kinetic, something like that. So I got these. I was getting a number of pressure puncture flats from dropping off crap and not doing it very well.
Right.
So at the time, this was an extremely durable, and probably still is, downhill tire. These are made by IRC. These are IRC Cujos? Something like that.
Cujo.
And these have like a foam lining inside them as well, so they're very, very durable for downhill, but also for my terrible riding style, I could huck off stuff and not get pressure punctures.
Gotcha.
What's super cool about this bike that I have not seen in any other bike before in my life, or these huge rims, if you want to zoom on these guys. These are triple wall box rims. Very, very robust.
Those are gnarly.
Yeah, they're huge. Triple wall. I haven't seen one since. High spoke count. The hub is nothing really to be shouted about. But again, a very, very strong wheel altogether. Still has quick releases. There were no through axles at this time yet,
Right.
so there we go.
Yeah. Comment down below. Oh my God, what a crappy bike. It didn't even have a through axle.
Coming up to the handlebar area, this was a very unique handlebar, very robust for this bike, and still unique for this time, I feel like. Steel, super burly. Both the stem and the riser handlebar are, I think, pretty special, pretty unique.
Yeah.
Nothing special about these brakes, though. It would have been nice. These things are pretty crappy. They're Pro Max. They felt crappy at the time. They still feel pretty crappy.
Okay.
If I were to replace these with some Avid single digits or some Avid ones that would go with these, they would feel really, really good.
Nice.
But for the sake of keeping things as they were, I'm just going to leave them on.
There you go.
The grips are also not stock. I changed those back in the year 2000 to these Auris.
Right.
I don't know why. I probably crashed a bunch of times and ripped them up. So
Remember when bikes had
look at
shifter
that,
windows?
8 speeds. And I think this was also the very first rapid fire bike I ever had as well, underbar
nice.
shifter.
Okay,
so
yeah.
that was coming about, and so 8-speed rapid fire. That was a big deal to me.
Nice.
Frame, big fat aluminum frame. I'm very pleased.
I
Look at
thought
these.
this was chromoly, but this is aluminum.
Is it chrome? I might be wrong. Oh, we'll have to put that in the notes.
Yep. We'll look it up.
But I'm very pleased with the welding they did here. Steel, big, huge, not steel, but big, huge welds, big, huge frame parts, tubing, so super cool.
Tubing was the word you were looking for,
big,
Brandon.
huge tubing, yep, exactly. And if you don't mind, if you want to come zoom in, no other bike has ever had this head badge before.
Nice.
In a day now where everything is so corporate, where everything has to be in these standards and everything has to be the right size. Yeah. This was still a time where they had a little room to be creative.
Right.
So super cool head tube design. A headset on there. This was probably also my first bike that didn't have a threaded headset on there.
Very nice.
It's still a 101.8 steer, non-threaded. And this was probably something that was it was a big novelty for me at the time.
All right.
Saddle is also not the stock saddle, but it is time period correct on there. Not sure what happened to the other one that it came with. Again, probably got crashed out.
Right.
Because I was messing around with it.
Now, I'm kind of interested with these cranks, but we've got some chain guides there.
I know. So this would have been a huge novel. This was a huge novel to me as well at the time. This was to keep when when you're dropping off stuff to keep the chain on, because there was no such thing as narrow wide chain drop stop chain rings in these days, and there's also no such thing as Shadow Plus or a clutch.
Oh Jesus!
So look at how light and loose this is. So you can imagine that if I'm coming off something to what I consider a big drop off,
right?
that the chain would have easily fallen off back in the day without this. They sound like garbage. It's essentially just plastic on chain. So when you ride this bike, it goes. It sounds absolutely awful. But I thought I was cool.
Right.
That's all that mattered.
Right.
Coming back here, you see that Shimano Dior. That was a new group for the time, and it was all we really needed for what we were doing.
Right.
8-speed on there. 8-speed. I love it.
Good stuff. And then finishing off with those mechanical brakes.
Yep.
Same
And
ones
then
on the
you
back.
see you do have the bosses to add a post and have a mechanical brake. And if we'll come around this side, I think the guys over at the Ski and Bike Shop watch us now and again. I still have homage to the Ski and Bike Shop on there. That sticker's been on there since about the year 2000.
There we go.
So
I love it.
And I'm looking back here while we're there. Nice big welds, nice big tubes, super strong frame.
Certainly not going to break those.
Really
now,
had a lot of fun on this bike.
The bottom bracket on this, is this a press or a square taper?
This would be, I believe at this time it was an Isis.
Isis?
So it had a little bit more, grip, I guess, on it, a little bit stronger, but still a very basic, very heavy setup even for that time.
Okay.
But the bike was made to be strong, and I think they accomplished that with the spec that they put on here. It was great.
Nice.
And at the time, it was. At the time, this thing might have been about $1,200, I believe. So it wasn't a cheap bike at the time.
That's Roscoe money.
Yeah. It is. So, again, I didn't have to pay full price for it. So
that's a good thing, though.
That's how I was able to get that on a bicycle shop salary.
Yeah, EPP.
In college, exactly.
All right,
so,
Brandon.
Yeah, that's about it. Fun stuff.
Give us a transition. Get us out of here.
2, 1, 3.
Nice. All right, my friends. There's a little stroll down Amnesia Lane.
You ain't kidding.
Right? This is really cool, Brandon. And, I mean, initially when you told me this was your bike, when I first saw it, I thought that was really cool. The fact that this was not a bike you used to own. This is the bike you used to own. Papa John's Pizza, the owner, tracked down the first Camaro car he ever bought. Some guy owned it in Texas or something like that.
Yep, I knew that.
Because he wanted it and everything. So it kind of reminded me of that, and the history behind it and the fun times he had on it. And I think that's pretty darn cool.
It's still great to have up in the shop, and
Yeah. I think that's awesome. So I definitely appreciate you taking the time to share that with us today, and I'm sure our viewers do as well.
You won't see me getting on this anytime soon.
That would be the icing on the cake.
I'm not riding it.
You don't want to get on it?
It's
Just
pure.
a couple stunts out in the parking lot?
Maybe down the curb is about as best I can do.
I'm telling you guys, age gets up to us all. So now, again, we do this as a fun Throwback Thursday for the bike showcases. Some of you are new to cycling. Some of you don't necessarily realize the older bikes, what they were like, the friction shifting, the 8-speed, the different things as that technology grew and progressed. And Jesus, quite frankly, how good we have it these days. I mean, it's just one of those things.
Reals, yeah.
Now, it's not to say, some bikes, classics, we see people riding the single-speed fixies and stuff like that. And I think you can take an older bike and modernize it and still have some life left in it and have a lot of fun. I have a pub crawler that's a perfect example. But something like this, it's essentially all original. It's like going to a car show and you see that stock category where they've taken time to find everything. This is just, I think this is really cool.
Thanks.
This is a standout as far as that goes.
I'm pleased to have it back.
So, awesome. So, all right, my friends, again, we've brought in the new year. You guys might have been hoping for a more exciting video. Nay, this is it, although I think it's pretty cool. Now, what we have coming in 2026, we have more toolbox topics coming up. I know you guys have specifically requested to see some more of those again. We have some more bike showcases coming up and some Throwback Thursdays as well. Fireside chats will continue. We'll be concluding with our final episode on e-bikes. Wait to see that exciting conclusion. And then we're going to talk about wireless versus mechanical on the group sets, some other stuff like this. We're also going to do some top, like 5 videos, 10 videos, tools you should have in your garage, innovations for 2025 that are carrying into 2026. So here, January, February, March, expect those, pushing us into the second quarter of 2026. It's going to be an exciting time, an exciting year, and we're so happy that you're here to join us and give us that support once again. So on that note, make sure you like, subscribe, and the bell notification icon. Helps out the channel, helps out the video immensely. There's going to be some links down below. Trek Bicycle Stores of West Phoenix is the most important link. If you have a question about today's video, you can follow the link and call Brandon, okay? Talk to him, talk to one of his amazing teammates, okay? The guys and gals here are superb. That's why I keep coming back. And, you know, they allow me to. I'm waiting for there to be a, I come in and I get shocked or something. No, joking, guys. There's our social media links as well. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, the devil's work. But it's necessary to get the word for Get Out Arizona. Get it out there. We do group rides, group hikes, a lot of fun stuff, and I always say the only thing that's missing from those activities is you. So come out and join us and have a great time. Our Amazon affiliate link is down below as well. If you follow that link and make a qualifying purchase, you will receive an awesome product at a great price in like a day now. I think Amazon delivers in an hour. Are they teleporting stuff to people's houses yet?
I see those drones flying overhead all the time.
Jesus, scared the shit out of me, too. Conversation for another day. But we receive a small commission, okay? It helps out with park pass money, gas money, coffee money. The other trifecta we love so much here, Get Out Arizona. I remind you guys all the time, I don't work for Trek, for Brandon. So yeah, it's up to you guys to help with stuff like that. Keeps the shoes on my feet and the friggin' the sealant in the tubes and, the airline tickets in my hands. So, but we do appreciate that additional support. So, my friends, what do we say at this point as we start 2026? And seriously, guys, I know it's going to be a fantastic year for everybody. I can feel it in my bones. Be kind to yourself and others. Be amazing stewards on that trail. Remember, we are the ambassadors of our activity, okay? And I have to ask, what are you waiting for?
Get Out Arizona.
Gosh darn right. My friends, we will see you on that next adventure. God bless everybody. Have a fantastically amazing day wherever you're at, whatever you're doing, and we'll talk to you soon. Brandon, we'll see you next week.
Have fun.
Take care.